Hi everyone, it's Lynn from Cavy Central and we have Chantel here, our amazing volley. Do you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi everyone.
You want to wait? Say hi. It's Chantel, and Chantel has the most gorgeous little piggy called Corty. But Corty had a lump which was near the mammary area and it was removed. When was that? Last November?
November.
Yeah, and at that time the lump was removed. Surgery went really well. There was a great margin on it taken. Everything went fine. And then within, it wasn't too long after, you noticed the other one, was it?
Maybe
A month? 6
Yeah.
weeks? Maybe a month, 6 weeks later, another lump was noticed, but this time it was actually here underneath the rib cage, and to palpate it, it was really in an obscure location and difficult location to actually surgically deal with. So once you start going into the cavities where the major organs are, then surgery becomes a little bit more tricky. So at that time, given the surgery that had just occurred and given the time frame and the location of the new one, we looked at various options, and one of them was to wait and see. So now that little lump, Corty's come back in because Chantel's actually seen the vet again.
Yep.
And has spoken again with surgery, and this time it has moved down. It's more now, it's outside the rib area, and you can palpate it. There we go, it's right down here now. You can actually feel it. So if the camera can see under the feet, I've sort of got it in my hands there, and it's in a very easy place to remove. So the discussion is now whether to go and remove it because it's in a much easier location, it's closer to the surface, whether to remove that or to watch and wait, given that it has occurred again. So they're the sorts of discussions that we're having at the moment. You can actually see how it's distending now. So it's not causing him any pain to touch or move around, and actually underneath the surface you can feel it move quite solidly. The lump itself is flat in shape and not oval, not elliptical, and it's not symmetrical. So that tells me it's more likely to be a tumor. Whether that's benign or cancerous is to be determined, but it's more likely to be a tumor than an abscess. So we would never ever treat something like this as an abscess. So yeah, he's in touch with the vet at the moment, and we will keep you posted as to what happens. But for people who have had surgery previously with animals and lumps recur within a short space of time, the first thing is that when you do have the lump removed, that you get a test on that lump to see if it contains cancerous cells or not. So that's an additional test they can do by sampling what they removed and then having it sent away to be tested. And that gives you an idea whether it was in fact benign or not. Now, we have no knowledge about the first tumour that was removed from Corty, but I would tend to think that it could be cancerous. And that's what we've been watching and waiting for. How old is he now?
He'll be
Is he nearly 5?
5 in December.
Yeah, most issues with piggies, that's another thing, whether we've got lumps, bumps, all sorts of hereditary issues, they start to really surface well and truly by age of 5. So it's sort of in line with what we would expect to be seen if that were a problem. But then comes the question of, what do you do? How do you look after an animal that has tumours that are recurring? The first point I'd raise is that of pain, because if an animal is suffering in any way, then you need to have immediate attention. Now, Corty, as it is right now, he's not aware of that lump, he's not moving, you can touch it, he'll continue eating, he's not making any sound, so we know that it's not bothering him. If it were different, then we'd need to look at other veterinary recommended steps for him. So if you have an animal that has, for example, a cancer and the prognosis is not very good, you then go into a stage of what we call palliative care, which is where you're looking after the health and well-being of an animal. And the first consideration, of course, is pain management. So once pain starts to be a real issue, that's when you need to consider what the options are at that point. And sadly, for a lot of those cases, it might be euthanasia. Now, euthanasia is a really, really hard decision to come to, and Corty certainly isn't in that category at the moment. So that's not something we're addressing right now. But I wanted to throw that out there to you, that if you do have a scenario similarly where you have got a prognosis that nothing can be done, or that it is life-threatening, and that for example, there are surgeries that can be done that are extremely expensive, and right now, in the midst of everything that's going on globally, simply may not be affordable. So euthanasia is a kind of option to consider. And these are the sorts of terrible conversations that you need to have around the well-being of an animal. So yeah, pop your thoughts down below and we'll keep you posted. Now, Corty has another interesting feature we're going to take a look at now. Let's show everybody Corty. All right, so let's have a look at this cauliflower bottom. So this is Corty's butt, which, if we go back to his previous video, we can probably see how large it was. Is he doing, oh, Corty's doing a poo. I am glad I have got gloves on. Okay, Corty, you need to do the poo. Okay, gentle. Okay, let's have another look. You've got to stay here, sweetie. Can you give him a little bit of grass so he can chew it? There we go. Have a bit of chew. Right. Okay, because what I want to do is just take, oh dear goodness, Corty, loads of poo coming out at the moment. We'll just, has a little cauliflower boy bit. We call it a cauliflower boy bit because of how it is around the outside. Looks like it's, yeah, very, very large, isn't it? Anyway. This, I don't know if you can, oh, he's doing more poo. Heaven's above. Every time he sits down, Corty does a load of poos. Maybe it's easier to empty in this position than normally, but he's walking around with quite a few there. Let's just get these out, Corty. Oh my goodness. When guinea pigs can't pass these, that's when they can start causing problem. But anyway, he's passing them really well. It's cool. All right. So there's nothing actually wrong there other than a little bit of smegma that has built up. And this area has continued to grow quite a lot actually, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's like thicker.
It's like thicker and more fancy. Or something. Sometimes they get little areas built up in there that they can't clear, but certainly he doesn't have any of those. He's keeping it pretty well, so we're just doing what we can to wipe that down.
Toilet again.
Yeah. There we go.
Lean.
Yep. Let's just fix that. Yeah, so this little area down here has definitely grown in size. It's not related to somewhere else. Hey, Corty, come on, get rid of that. This, stop that. Stop. So this little area has continued to grow. It's not related to the tumour issue that's going on, but certainly, you know, he's probably the best example of the cauliflower baby, that cauliflower boy bit that we've seen. Something to be aware of. In terms of what problems it can cause, it tends to pick up debris. Just making sure it's clean, washed when you give them a little bath. Do a bit of a clean. Probably needs more regular bath than not. Oh, right. Helping you out with all your push. And I think that's part of his problem, Chantal. When, you know, just sitting here, he's pooed constantly. I don't think he's able to clear them as much. So when you hold him in this position, he's certainly clearing so many.
If anyone wants to know how many poos they do?
I think he's just done about 40, hasn't he? Simply by being in that position. It's not one we'd recommend, but it certainly helped him move them out, didn't it?
Yeah, just constant.
So because he's got a few issues, he may be losing some of his muscular ability down there. You can see really clearly here the lump that we're talking about as I hold him. If we move that round, maybe you can lift the whole camera and lift it on the stem. And can you see it now? Yeah. You can certainly see the size of that now. If If you move back so you've got his whole body, you can see, yeah, very clearly the size of it. And this lump now is in an area that can be much more easily obtained. The question is it attached to something underneath? And there's questions about it being, was it liver? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So we'll keep you updated with Corty and what the future holds for him. That's it for me. Bye everyone. Bye for now. Who's that? Hello. Who have you got? It's Mac and his toy. Tell everyone about Mac, Chantel.
He's a Chihuahua. He turns one on the 20th of June.
Oh, he's not one yet. Oh, you're not one yet,
He's
Mac.
full bred. He's got his American
Mac, come on.
teddy bear.
Hello. Hello.
Association.
Yep. So he's a bit of a hot rodster.
Oh, he loves the car.
Who have I got, Mac? Look. Who have I got, Mac? Who have I got? Yay! You're so cute, Mac. You're so cute. You're so cute. So cute, Mac. Yeah. Mac. Mac.